Thank you, Ma. Are we ready? Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. That which we gather here to practice as a group is called Hindu Dharma, also known as Sanatana Dharma. Contrary to the belief that there is no such coinage of word called Sanatana Dharma, there is enough proof that I can show, whether it is Manusmriti, whether it is Padma Purana, whether it is Bhagavata Shastra, whether it is Ramayana, Sanatana Dharma has been used quite prolifically. So it is also known as Sanatana Dharma, also known as Vaidika Dharma. Why is it called Vaidika Dharma? Because that which is supported by the Vedic literature. And it is called Dharma. Aha. ತಗೊಂಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ $50 ಡೊನೇಷನ್. One of the 12th graders gave me a very good fundraising technique. Swamiji, give us the phone numbers of all the congregation members in each session and give us that half an hour time of prayers to go into other rooms, and we will run a call center and call up all the parents in that half an hour. Whosoever rings, that many $50 is our contribution from their pockets to Chinmaya Mission. Ingenious idea, right? ఇసిలియా ముద్దొచ్చేసారని ఇట్లా అన్నా అనమాట. We should do it after banquet. Good. That should be for next, what you call, next semester. We'll start it from January. No, we will do it next year, beginning of next year. It is called Vaidika Dharma, and it is called Dharma and not called Mata. Mata means opinion. In India, when you go to give your vote, do you know what that voting system is called? Matadan. You are offering your opinion. It's an opinion of a certain individual captured in one particular book, one particular day, one particular system, and that is what you have to follow. There are no such dogmas in dharma. Why? Because dharma is very, very organic in its application and evolution. Therefore, it is called Sanatana and Puratana. Sanatana because it is the ancient most. Puratana or Purana is not the Hindi word. Hindi, Purana means what? Old. But in Sanskritam, Purana means Pura api Nava. That ancient wisdom which is fresh and applicable even now. Therefore, it is called Purana. It adds the depth to our dharma. What does this dharma actually mean? The right way to do things. Little louder and slower. Across any time. That which is right for anyone at any time, any place, for the entire humanity. Anybody else? You were saying something. Dharma means responsibility. That which teaches us how to live. That which integrates. That which upholds. स्कूल में जो होते हैं principles. Anything from the backbenchers or the benchers? Human operating system. OS. Oh yes. Responsibilities already covered. I would say that all of these are a portion of the definition. Dharma, the root word being dhru, is to comprehensively integrate everything in and out. Don't mince my words. Dhru means comprehensively integrating everything in and out, thus thereby upholding the highest, is called dhru. Dharma, therefore, is that which brings that very definition into experience. At any given intersection of our life and experience, it defines a very fine balance between, you said responsibilities, but that would be half the truth. That's why I said half things. You're not wrong, but it is half of it. You said duties, but it's just half of it. A fine balance between responsibilities and rights. Let that be grasped. Many people in the last 20 years have asked one common question through the years. Swamiji, you have worked in India for 8 years, you have been working here with kids. What do you find difference between the Indian working system and here the working system? I said, my working system has remained the same. It has not changed. But unto the people who I am working with, the mindsets are different. How so? In India, there is a large emphasis on responsibilities. We are taught what is the responsibility, and that is by large enforced all across. But what is missing there is rights. When it comes to US, before even the generation is taught about responsibilities, rights are taught, and it is taught with the attitude that it's your right to demand it. You can take it for granted. Both are lopsided. Both are imbalanced. Everybody sitting here must have applied for your driver license. Did you read that small book? Green, yellow, red, small booklet. I also had to read it. There was this paragraph about stop sign. I jumped out of joy reading that paragraph. Seriously. It says you have to come there, stop, and count 2 seconds. 3 nahi, 2. How do you count? Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2. 2 seconds are done. Then you look at the 4 sides. If there is anybody that has come before you, give them the right of way. Then in sequence, whenever it is your turn, you take. And what is it called? Then it becomes your right of way. When you have paused there and counted your Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, checked all directions, when you have done that responsibility, then comes your right of way, not otherwise. When is right given? When you have fulfilled your responsibility. If you demand the right without fulfilling the responsibility, it is called, no, Bhagavan says it very beautifully. He says that is called chauryam. You are stealing. When you take your rights for granted without having fulfilled your responsibilities, then as he said, it is wrong. It is not right. You said it, right? You said it. And it is wrong. That fine balance of responsibilities and rights in our day-to-day, which defines our role, thereby defining our responsibility. At every given intersection, one has to be alert, awareful of where exactly am I. इसमें बहुत confusion हो जाता है. There's a lot of confusion in understanding and deciphering what exactly is my description of role at that given intersection. I must have given this example earlier in the Mahabharata war. Have I given this? Yudhishthira shoots 3 arrows before the war began, and they fall at in front of Bhishma, Drona, Krupacharya. That was the way when they would offer salutations even to those people if they were in the opposite side. If they are elder to you and respect worthy, you would offer your salutations. And here it is within the same family. And who was Bhishma to them? To the Pandavas? The grandfather ki great grandfather? The grandsire. So Bhishma also, with a roaring voice, asks, before he says anything or does anything, he asks for clarity. Now what is the clarity that he asks? Beta, is this salutation to the commander-in-chief of your opposite side of the army, or is it to your grandfather? I happen to wear both caps. So Yudhishthira says, of course it is to my grandfather. If it is to your grandfather, then as a grandfather, Vijayostu. And he could have said anything, okay? Sukhi bhava, dharmapati bhava, may you walk the path of dharma. Dharma patha, not pati, patha, pati. But he says, Vijayi bhava, Vijayostu. Duryodhana gets ticked off. Why? What the heck? You are my commander-in-chief and you are saying the opposite side should have victory? This is like Muhammad Azharuddin playing for India against Pakistan. There was a cricket match then, long time ago. After that, I stopped watching cricket. Because that was that rampant that anybody can sell the team for anything. Inside trading. So Duryodhana also blames Bhishma Acharya of the inside trading, that you have sold your soul to the Pandavas and you are my... It's not fair. Duryodhana doesn't understand that that was the blessings as a grandfather. As your commander-in-chief, I give you the word. As long as I am on the battlefield, none of you will be touched. Whatever stalemate was happening for 80 years, it continued for 9 days on the battlefield. Because his role and responsibility. Similarly, at every intersection of our life, wherever we are, what has to be first remembered? What is my role? If we roll along without knowing the role, what is left in life is only Rona. First, one has to understand what is that role. And then, what is the responsibility? Thereby qualified for that right. Dharma at the interactive level. Dharma at, this is Vyavahara, Pravritti. Dharma at the Nivritti level is to comprehensively unite. Therefore, it becomes yoga. Because dharma's job is to integrate as well. Integrate what? That which has been assumed as a limited self, to drop that wrong identity and to ascertain that which is our right identity, which is of that supreme, which is the substratum, sparking here as the self. And again, that pravritti is not in tandem with, it's not like it is not in tandem with the nivritti. This attitude, if it is not there in pravritti, nivritti cannot be attained. Did I make it too confusing? If the pravritti attitude is not ascertained, as I have explained as the balance of dharma, then we are not qualified for that nivritti to happen. So you cannot neglect pravritti also. That which it teaches this at a pravritti level is called dharma shastra. That which teaches this at nivritti level is called adhyatma shastra. And they are not too different. They are like two sides of the same coin. You finish this, get qualified for that. One step after the other. Is this much clear? Any questions on this? This kind of crowd scares me. This particular example that you have taken, I'll expand it to two more terms. Not of the election winning. Two more terms that we have to understand, two words that have to be understood. One is Vyashti Dharma and the other is Samashti Dharma. Vyashti is the individual. Samashti is collective. Vyashti is individual. Samashti is collective. Many of us think that many of them have blamed Hinduism of being a very selfish religion which only thinks about Vyashti and not about Samashti. Vyashti impacts Samashti and Samashti impacts Vyashti. Individual impacts the collective and the collective impacts the individual. If somebody comes here into this gathering as an individual without taking shower for a whole week, I'm taking a grossest example so that it stands out and the understanding is unquestionable. How is that Vyashti? How is that individual? Unclean stench walking into a closed door conference or meeting into this samashti. Does that Vyashti affect the samashti? Can the samashti affect the Vyashti? I also hope so. You all turn to that fellow and say, idiot, get up. Go clean yourself up. The samashti has that impact on Vyashti. So much that you don't even need to say it. Everybody stare and that fellow feels compelled to come clean. Vyashti has the effect on samashti. Samashti has the effect on Vyashti. Is this concept understood? Vyashti, samashti. Yes, no? Just as a concept. There used to be a saying, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. As is the king, so is the public. होता था एक ज़माने में. Now the system has, most of the places universally, now we have started adopting to democracy. Which, not understanding properly, we have left it to become hypocrisy. Now, in democracy, who is it that leads us? What kind of people representative? Collective majority, samashti elected. That which is the representative of the samashti's choice. Swamiji, Biden Swamiji, 80 years. Yesterday he celebrated his 80th birthday. Prior to that, Trump. Both are oh my gosh only. Both are oh my gosh. The reason I am saying oh my gosh is, it is your collective responsibility that you have selected them. I am only an onlooker. I am not a citizen, so I don't have the right to select them. Whoever are the... Oh, but Swamiji, I am a citizen, but I did not vote. Shame on you. Dirty fellow. Because you have not been righteously dharmic. You have not used your responsibilities well. So if that collective effect has to be changed, where should the change begin? Isn't it at the Vyashti level? हिंदी में एक गाना होता था, बूंद बूंद बनता सागर. याद आया किसी को गाना? नहीं आया? मुझे वेग सा याद है, मैं गायक नहीं हूं इसलिए मैं अटेम्प्ट भी नहीं कर रहा. बूंद बूंद, every drop of water maketh a ocean. तो बचपन में पढ़े थे ना. What does it mean? Vyashti has the impact on samashti. And that samashti which we have chosen has the impact on vyashti as well. Good, bad, ugly, horrifying. Both ways it impacts. If what we have now or what we had as the representative of the samashti is, oh my gosh, then I would say, looking at all of you, oh my gosh, how did you allow that happen? Am I getting across? Now with that samashti, if it does, that samashti representative does something good, it impacts to the last aspect of that vyashti. If it is bad, that karma phala impacts to the last institute of vyashti. I'll take a example. My point here is vyashti samashti. Don't get carried away by the example. I am not trying to make it political. Is my disclaimer clear? Post analysis, hindsight 2020, WMD. Do you know what is WMD? Bhul gaye. Weapons of mass destruction. Where was it claimed? Huh? Was it proven? How many people as a, what do you call that? Collateral damage, both in Iraqian population as well as the armed forces, and the execution, the kangaroo court execution of Saddam Hussein, without the basis of WMD. Is it dharmic or adharmic? A little louder. Adharmic. तो मतलब पाप कृत्य. हमारा 20 साल होने को है. 20 साल बाद तो 20 years is high time. Yes. That was the only fellow that allowed even women to have education. Well, now it's getting worse. No, even then, compared to Saudi, compared to Qatar, compared to UAE, compared to everywhere else, that was the only place which had a university where women were professors, women were learning. When women have that kind of a right, he was a liberal in that belt of Middle East. I mean, did not US go and kill a lot of Vietnam people? Did anybody come kill the president? क्या हक बनता है? It cannot be anywhere it can be applicable whichever way. Vietnam, Korea, and I can go on. Right? You cannot justify because you have gone and attacked. There was no probable cause. If I assume that there is some hidden and come and attack and not find it after 20 years in US, do you think you'll be finding it justified? Heck no. So let's not be in dreamer's world. You cannot make that attack without having a probable cause. How did you make it even that? Therefore it is adharmic. If somebody came into your house thinking that you had guns and there was no guns proven even after the case, and according to her, maybe it is still hidden somewhere. Oh, cause nahi banta na. Before you attack, you have to first prove that it is existing. Then only you are allowed to, otherwise that freedom is null and void. Now the point that I am trying to make, just taking it as an example, not a political example. If it is adharmic, it's a papa. Who bears the papa phala? Samashti is made up of all the vyashti put together. So who is sharing it? If it is good, who shares it? If it is bad, if it is horrifying, vyashti has that impact on samashti. Samashti has that impact on that vyashti. Just because you started that question. We are not in an isolated pocket where, oh, I got nothing to do with it. No, you cannot be. You are a part of this society. Society is supporting you. It is our responsibility to uphold that society as well. Do you know who is the one who is given a freedom of that responsibility? Only a sannyasi. And that fellow is screaming on the top of the head, coming back into the society, please do your job. Whose job it is not to scream? That day when we take sannyasa, to all of this, we have done tarpana. There is nothing which binds us. You took the example, so I had to justify it in that way. See, before you take it to any example and application, it would be justified and first make sense at my own immediate level of application instead of taking it global. Because global, it can be some arbitrary, and to an arbitrariness, I cannot pinpointly give you a solution. But, let me speak. But when at your level, you know the ingredients of all the components that are there, and at your level, when it is convincingly applicable and it becomes your conviction, at samashti level, you will make a leap of understanding, not the other way around. So whenever we have an applicability of a particular siddhanta, the logical sequence of first beginning should be from within at my level. So next example when you take, if it is at an individual level that you are experiencing, it would make instead of an arbitration. Out of? That dilution, whatever you are talking, is not separate. It is still an individual. And all such individuals put together make a collective. Therefore, when we say that a common ground of dharmic attitude, if not there, our starting point itself has become diluted. Right? First, let me, right? At starting point itself has become diluted. Now, coming to this part of the land where it has its own ways of life, our next generation did not make that decision. They were born into this environment because of our choices. Right? Even in those choices, did we understand that baseline when we started? At least now are we ready to evaluate that baseline? Without that understanding of baseline, we just jumped and started running in any direction. Dilution started there. And it's not some random. We are as much a contributor of that dilution as anybody else. Right? So where should that change again be? At an individual level, when I am impeccably trying to follow it, I become the inspiration for the family becomes the inspiration for neighborhood, the neighborhood becomes the inspiration for the entire county becomes the inspiration, leadership. That is how change happens. There are enough what ifs. The point being, this is the integration that can happen with you as the center or I as the center of that change. That is the dharmic way of outlook, not the other way around. Because my freedom is to change only myself. And the change that is expected in the environment can happen only if I am standing as a tall role model by living it myself. If my baseline itself is leaving everything into dilution, then where should the correction start? From our own baseline. Did I? Yes, ma. ठीक है, did it? My second $50 of the day. See, the inflation is higher. I am still keeping it $50. क्या शुभारंभ है आपका? हाँ, continue please. होता है, बड़ी सी जिंदगी में छोटे छोटे मिस्टेक्स होते रहते हैं. ये हसीन गलती है $50 की. हाँ जी. As I said to that Amma also, you're trying to understand, I understand that. But in our set of situations that we are choosing to make an example, very arbitrary situations. So right on the outset, I'm telling, I cannot give you a perfect solution. Okay, I can only give you as much vague information as you given, the closest vague answer I can give. Are you okay with that? हो सकता है, पर it is not clear where what you are asking of application, right? So I can only give you that much of vagueness in it. Going back to Bhishma, he had a choice. He understood. I am the commander-in-chief. Should I be blessing the other fellow this or this? As a commander-in-chief or as a grandfather? He has asked from a grandfather. Though I am a commander-in-chief, I am wearing two different responsibilities. He is asking from a grandfather. Can that grandfather be curbed and put aside and only a commander-in-chief function? Now, he decided no. Whether you say yes or no, it doesn't matter. What he made a choice only matters. He chose that it is right for him to address that situation as a grandfather. What was the consequence? Duryodhana screamed. To shut that Duryodhana, Bhishma had to blow his conch. Hearing his conch blow, Arjuna thinks that what an audacity of these Kauravas, that they do wrong all their life and they are challenging us for the battle. Who should challenge? Pandavas should challenge by blowing the conch. This chain of events that happen, right? But he made that choice. Similarly, in everyone's life, at every intersection, going through multiple responsibilities, each one of us has to put a priority on what do I choose the most. Between being a parent, a wife, or whatever, a child myself, what kind of priority? Maybe I would put my child as a higher priority than me being the child, or me being the wife or a husband, or anything else. And once you have made that priority and a choice based out of it, then a decision made out of it, then an action towards it. It's not like a child's play, where I go back and say, no, cancel, reball. बचपन में जब हम क्रिकेट खेलते थे और गलती से आउट हो गए, नहीं, this is trial ball. Now bowl the real ball. In life it doesn't happen. Every experience is a real experience. Am I getting across? Through these, I educate myself. When do I stop being a good human being? Is when I don't learn from these experiences and go to do the same wrong priorities, wrong decisions, wrong actions based out of my wrong choices and make a pattern out of it in my life. That is when I am a wrong contributor. That is what in Bhaja Govindam, Adi Shankaracharya ji calls such people as Moodhamate. Those who repeat the same patterns of wrong choices again and again with renewed enthusiasm, expecting a different result every time. Okay, first time you made a mistake. At least second time sudhar jao. What road do you take to come to Saket? What road do you take? Dallas North Tollway? DNT? While you are coming on DNT, there is a Preston exit. That is what you take? Frankfurt exit you take. How many times will you allow yourself miss that Frankfurt exit? Be human. अपने आप में तरस खाओ. If every single time you miss the exit and go to, what is the next one? Not Preston. After that is, no, there is one more. Trinity Mill, right. Every time you miss Frankfurt and take Trinity and come, तो उसको क्या बोलेंगे? That is exactly what Adi Shankaracharya ji is saying. I'll take another arbitrary example. Between husband, wife, children, you have lived with that husband, the husband has lived with that kind of wife for last 25, 30 years. You exactly know how each one of you act, react, respond or flare up in every situation. Still, what are the choices that we make? Am I getting across? I have been telling for last 20 years in this very hall, please put your cell phones off. मैं आप पे नहीं बोल रहा बुरा मत मानो, जस्ट एग्जाम्पल है, बुरा मत मानो क्योंकि मुझे $50 का लाभ है आपका भी for last 20 years. Similarly is your experience being a parent where for 15-20 years you keep telling the same instructions to your child again and again and again. You get frustrated, I make joke out of it. Have you seen me getting frustrated? I make a joke out of it so that people understand. But when the same priorities happen, you have two choices. These are like this only. I will pick up that dirty towel and put it in the trash bag or wherever you deem fit. Or the millionth time give the same instruction. Right? But we make a choice of making that out of frustration or out of re-education. And the impact of it is left on us. So to have that clarity at every single intersection of life, our prayer, Dhiyo Yonav Prachodayat. May my intellect be illumining every single aspect. Nazar hati, durgatna gati. Just because you have in the car the, what do you call that? No. Cruise mode. Just because you have the cruise mode on your car, you cannot go back into your car and make yourself a coffee and leave that there. Leave the steering unattended. Why? Cruise mode pe hai na. Can you do that? Even in the lane assist or the newer models, I have not driven them, I don't know much about it. If you don't hold on to it, does it stop? No? I have not driven, so I don't know. हाँ, तो बाद में स्लो भी हो जाता होगा ना. I have never driven, so मुझे मालूम नहीं है. So I'll go back to my own example. If it is on cruise mode, it doesn't mean that you can give it up. You have to still be there and continue your monitoring it. Right? Similarly are your choices. That you want it to be on an autopilot, it doesn't mean that you can take your thing off. So every single moment, what is my role? What is my responsibility? What are the impacts of that responsibility when attended or not attended? I should be aware of it every single moment. And based out of that, I make a conscious decision and be responsible for the result of it, however good, bad, ugly, horrible they are. To own up and say, that was my decision. I will be responsible for facing it. Yudhishthira teaches that. When Bhagavan says, it is me, the Ishvara, who is asking you to say Ashvatthama Hata. Yudhishthira says, but that is Papa. That is. But when you, Krishna, that I trust in, you are saying for the larger good I have to say this lie, I am ready for the consequences of it if I have to go to Naraka. I am ready for it. Knowing that he makes that decision. It was not like he was compelled. He made that decision that I am okay to go to that. At every instance of life, when made such conscious decisions is when we move forward from one chapter of life to the other with least guilt, remorse or pain. Then karma boj nahi banta. Karma आनंद का स्रोत बनता है. Because I have made that decision, I am responsible for it. Who was it? Amma's son had come in the morning session. So his first question was not Hari Om, how are you? He's like, hey Swamiji, I hear you are going back to India. Are you happy, sad? How do you feel? So I said to him, look, that was my ask, my decision to go. Oh, so you must be happy going back. So I said, I am happy even now. It is not because I am unhappy that I am going. It is because I choose to have that kind of work, therefore I am going. Here also and there also I will be happy. My happiness is independent of the work that I am doing. The choice that I am choosing to includes the responsibility of taking care of the results of it and be ready to face it when it unfolds. Most of us forget that part, that we are not prepared for it. We have not included that portion of facing my own results into the planning. Therefore, it hurts. Am I getting across? Does it answer your vague question? I have tried giving as much. We'll stop here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.